Who in the world is making all this dang noise? Oh. Well, there you go again. You diving right into it. So that's what we do? That's what we do on YouTube? You go straight for it, huh? Let's see. No, boy, I think I pissed him off. Yo, what is going on, people? NGS back again for another video. If you couldn't tell by the intro already, I am not in my usual environment. I got a little bit of a change of scenery going on, you know what I'm saying? I'm currently down in Dallas, Texas, soaking up the beautiful, beautiful, hot spring weather. Definitely a stark contrast to New York, where it's just wet 24/7, that's what she said. But yeah, I'm here visiting all the good people in the lovely state of Texas. One in particular, my homie Tundex. I'm actually in Casa de la Tundex right now, and while he is away taking care of important life matters, I have taken the opportunity to, well, yeah, show you guys how awesome his collection is. I mean, look at this shit, man. I would go so far as to say that this collection is perfectly balanced, man. You have a good, diverse variety of special video game collector's editions, Happy Meal toys, second best girl for Persona 4, Yukiko right there. I mean, she ain't no Chie, but that'll do, pig, that'll do. And he's got a freaking Keyblade here as well. I mean, what better way to make this collection more balanced than, oh, it's my time to shine, baby, it's my time to shine. Wait a minute, that's not balanced. Ooh, your taste buds ain't ready. Y'all know who you are. Anyways, all jokes aside, ladies and gentlemen, the topic for today's discussion is something that kind of came out of left field when it pertains to Nintendo Switch, as a lot of things do. And this has to do with the announcement of a third-party game coming to the platform. I'm, of course, referring to Resident Evil 7 coming to Nintendo Switch in about 48 hours, if you can believe it or not. Yeah, Resident Evil 7 is coming to Nintendo Switch. But it's not in the way that a lot of people are expecting. Normally, this would be cause for surprise and shock and awe because this high-profile game from last year that everybody was talking about is finally coming to the Switch. Did Capcom do something right? Yeah, not exactly. Resident Evil 7 is indeed coming to the platform, but a cloud version of the game, which, as you could surmise, has prompted a lot of discussions. And I'm not going to mince any words here. I'm not going to beat around the bush more than I already have with this ridiculous intro showing off this glorious collection. I am not a fan of this approach for Capcom games coming to the platform, in addition to what this bodes for the future of Nintendo Switch. As of this recording, I need to preface that as such because the idea inherently is not necessarily bad, nor is it something new. The idea of cloud streaming AAA games, this has been going on for quite some time. I remember my first interaction to cloud streaming for video games was by the way of OnLive. This was, I believe, back in 2011, and I was just streaming games that I didn't want to pay the money for, so something like Homefront. I was playing the multiplayer through OnLive, and while I had some interesting experiences jumping from game to game with this trial period, it wasn't really the smoothest, and I had really good internet at the time. There was just something about streaming as it comes to video games that was so different than other uses for cloud streaming. Like, take for example, cell phones, right? We don't have any problems backing up our photos, our videos, our contacts to the cloud because those things are easy to do, even if they are large gigabytes. Same thing when it comes to streaming media applications. Netflix, Hulu, Crunchyroll, whatever application you use, we don't have a problem streaming it because it's something that is adapted on the fly depending on your connection, and it's not something you have to interact with. When it comes to video games, that's a completely different story. Not only are you streaming file sizes that are in some cases double the amount of a normal, let's say, Netflix show, you have to interact with it. And God forbid you're playing something that requires pinpoint accuracy, latency is going to be a crazy, crazy factor when it comes to your enjoyment of these games. Take something like PlayStation Now. This is Sony's premier way of streaming PlayStation 3 games on PlayStation 4. I've heard a lot of people enjoy it, but let's be serious here. How many people are actually going out there and saying, yeah, PlayStation Now, this is something I want to play? It's because it's not that great of a service, because the way technology is set up right now and the way internet is provided for the majority of the world, not just America, streaming games to that capacity is not really that viable. And when you have the Nintendo Switch, I'm just being real with y'all, Nintendo Switch is not the best platform for this, and I would say it's honestly the worst. Because when you look at the Switch, while we all love this device and this dog keeps licking himself, Damn, he's really going at it. The Nintendo Switch, while it has a lot of perks, this thing is not the best when it comes to data management, data streaming. Outside of the handful of Nintendo games that have online, such as Splatoon 2 and Mario Kart, how many people are actually playing good quality online, stable games for Nintendo Switch? Now you can chalk that up to the developers and you can chalk that up to their servers or whatever, but when it comes down to it, compare the quality of games that you'd be playing on PlayStation, Xbox, or PC to the Nintendo Switch for online gaming, and they dwarf it. Dwarf it? Yeah, that's great English today. They dwarf it by comparison. And when you combine that with the fact that Nintendo Switch does not have a built-in Ethernet port even on the dock, you have to actually go out there and spend money on this. It's just like, come on, man. You're bringing something like Resident Evil 7 and you're going to be streaming that to the Switch? That right there is already a problem. But when you combine that with the fact that it takes away one of the biggest selling factors of the Switch, the portability, the fact that you could be playing this at home, pick it up, go onto the train in your commute to work and continue that same experience. If you don't have a stable internet connection, and let's be real, how many people are going to want to use their 4G hotspot plan to play something like a Resident Evil 7 on the train where you're probably going to lose reception? Come on, y'all, let's not beat around the bush here and create these wildly inaccurate scenarios, like really specific scenarios where they're like, well, I've been playing the Switch while I'm doing this, that, and the third. I'm like, really, you're gonna be doing that? Come on now, like, streaming a game to the capacity of Resident Evil 7 when you're out and about and you do not have a stable connection, it's just asinine. At this point, you're only really gonna be playing it at home. And when you're playing it at home, doesn't that defeat the purpose of the portability? Because if you're streaming it at home and the only thing you could do is walk around the house and play the game, go from the couch, go to the shitter, go to the kitchen, doesn't this thing essentially just become another Wii U? I mean, I'm just being real with y'all. If you're going to be playing that sort of game at home, you might as well buy it on the PlayStation, Xbox, or PC where you don't have to worry about latency, input delay, and the like. That's the way I see it as of this recording. Maybe in a few years from now, the technology will advance to the point where it actually does become better, more accessible for people. Maybe Nintendo might invest in it. Maybe this will be their next big thing to try to get people to pay for their online. They couple this streaming service where you can stream a lot of the older games. I think that could be personally cool, but as of right now with this recording, it doesn't seem like it's that feasible, especially when you have one of their main competitors, Sony, dumping millions upon millions of it into PlayStation Now, and it's not setting the world on fire, even though they have all these games. I don't know how this is going to really work with the Nintendo Switch and it still being portable. Now that being said, whenever this technology does progress to the point where it actually does matter, I think that this could be freaking incredible, man. The fact that you can play games like let's say Red Dead Redemption 2 or whatever the next BioShock game is, or just whatever game that a developer does not want to bring to the Switch because of its limitations in performance with the GPU and the CPU, I think that streaming could be a nice alternative, but it does open up another Pandora's box of problems. Because what if a developer, instead of actually taking the time and effort to port the game to the Switch, they just put on a cloud version application on the eShop and say, hey, you can download this and play it this way, and then you're never really getting the full experience out of the game. You have to settle with the cloud. If all of the big third-party games end up being like that, how many people are going to want to play those games on Nintendo Switch as opposed to their PlayStation 4 where they own the game, they can play it locally and not have to worry about being connected to the internet? Like, why would somebody want to play a streaming version of Red Dead Redemption 2 where their internet connection is going to be the biggest hindrance to them, as opposed to playing it locally, playing it 4K, dynamic resolution, whatever, on PS4 Pro and Xbox One X? So that's my biggest problem in this situation. I'm really interested to see how this performs, but as it stands right now, with the way that the internet connection and bandwidth is set up across the world, I don't see this being a real good thing long term. But who knows where things may change in the future. Maybe Capcom will come out there and say, hey, we're actually coming out with a legitimate native Nintendo Switch version that's locally, that you can purchase off of the eShop, and you can just go into any store and buy. You don't have to worry about renting the game to stream on their servers. We'll see what happens, man. Everything is a trial experience when it comes to Nintendo Switch, so we'll see where this goes. Anyways, from me for now, my name is NGS signing out, and like always, I will catch you guys later. Peace. This dang dog, I swear.